On the day that this video comes out, we will be in the heart of our Japan trip. We will be at Universal Studios Japan, probably riding Flying Dinosaur or something. So now that I DDoS myself, come find me, I dare you, let's talk about predictions for our trip. Our vlogs are less than 2 weeks from coming out, and we are 2 weeks out from our trip as of writing this, so I thought this would be a good time to post and write this video. These predictions include coasters from all the parks that we will be visiting, but not necessarily all of them. If you want more detailed information about our trip, I highly recommend you watch our trip announcement video. It is a bit cringe, but all the information is there. With that out of the way, I'm going to be talking about my top 15 coasters and how I think I'm going to rank them. When the trip is over, we will see how inaccurate these predictions are, because I already know some coaster is going to shoot up out of nowhere, and one of these I'm not going to enjoy as much as I thought I would. So we have my top 15 coasters to cover, starting from my worst to best. Take in mind that these are not how I would rank how much I anticipate riding these coasters. For example, something like Zocon excites me a lot more than some coasters on this list. But anyways, we have 15 coasters to cover, and starting off our list is Acrobat at Nagashima Spa Land. This is a B&M flyer that is a clone of Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. The only reason why this is even on this list is that I have not ridden Manta yet. I know, right? Crazy. Flashing has, I have not, so a new flyer is automatically going to be something pretty cool for me. I know this doesn't have the immersive theming and all that. There is still the signature flying over the water element, but it does feel cheap compared to what SeaWorld Orlando has to offer. Nevertheless, it will have a very similar ride experience, and I think I will really enjoy this coaster, especially because I enjoy Tatsu a lot. Next up is the one and only Fujiyama at Fuji-Q Highland. This is a Togo hypercoaster, and I'm going to be honest, I am not crazily hyped for this ride. I've read some reviews on it, and it has made me more and more interested in it. From an outside perspective, this looks like it would be a more boring coaster and be like the Goliath of Japan, but I know this is not the case. It is also made by Togo, and I have heard more bad things than good things about them, but that will probably change as I ride this coaster as well. Fujiyama does have some of the best looking trains on the planet, so even if the coaster is bad, at least I will be riding in style. In the 13th spot is Regina 2 at Tobu Zoo. I am not a huge wood coaster fanatic, but I do appreciate a good wood coaster. I know that Regina wasn't exactly widely popular, but I really like GCI and pretty much every GCI I've been on, so Regina 2 has got to be good. It is kind of weird to say this, but this is one of my most anticipated coasters to ride on this trip. I have no idea why. I just have a strong desire to come and ride this. I can't explain it. However, I don't expect it to blow me away. The 12th spot goes to another Tobu Zoo coaster, and that is Kawasemi. This is kind of the opposite of Regina 2. I have no desire to ride this coaster, and I have no idea why. I haven't been on an Intamin Megalite before, so I should be hyped out of my mind, but I want to ride Regina 2 more than anything else. My brain doesn't make sense. You don't need to tell me that. However, I do think this coaster will be better than Regina 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is even higher than where I placed it now, though the competition gets a lot tougher going up. I'm just not overly anxious to ride this coaster, and I can't explain it, but it will be a good ride when I get around to it. In the 11th spot is Giant Digger at Lotte World Busan. This is a mock Blue Fire clone that is actually orange, or red according to Darren, and it's another highly anticipated ride for me. I haven't been on a Blue Fire clone yet, and I am really curious to see how they ride. I know the community kind of has came to a general consensus that they are mid-coasters about 10 years ago, so maybe I will finally be hopping on that train. But I am overly optimistic that this coaster can beat out some of its competition. I am just really excited for it. Plus, we are making the trip all the way to Busan basically just for this single coaster, so it better be good. Starting off our top 10 is Pyrenees at Parque España. Now, this is a very interesting coaster. It is often regarded as one of the best B&M inverts in the entire world, and I can understand why. It looks incredibly intense. It quite literally has the perfect formula for a good invert, with excessive positive Gs and whip, and I have heard that there's an airtime moment thrown in there, but we will see if that is actually true or not. However, I can't shake the feeling that this feels so short, and how is a world-class coaster short? That is not usually a common factor among the best coasters in the world, so we will see if that hinders the ride experience for me. I'm really excited to ride Pyrenees, but mainly I just want to get out of the touristy spots of Japan, and a trip to Shima really feels like I'm going off-grid, even though I'm nowhere close to that, so I'm just excited for this park in general. Up next is Steel Dragon 2000 at Nagashima Spa Land, and this is going to be my first Giga coaster. When I first became an enthusiast and you asked me what my first Giga would be, I would have told you Fury 325. It makes sense, I have family near there, I still don't know how I've not ridden it, but I haven't, so this is my first Giga. Now is this a world-class Giga? I don't know, it gets mixed reviews. However, just being so high up on a coaster sounds so fun. The height, the speed, the wind, I feel like you can't mess up a Giga coaster, but we will see. In the 8th spot is a coaster at Fuji-Q Highland, and that is Takabisha. I have been to New York City probably 11 times in my life, and I have not visited American Dream, so this is a new experience to me. The drop looks insane, and the launch also looks insane, so I'm prepared to be blown away by this coaster. In the lucky number 7 spot is Hollywood Dream at Universal Studios Japan. Now this is a little high on a list like this, I know, but I could see me ranking this coaster even higher. I have not been on a B&M Hyper yet, and although this is a mega size, I'm just excited to experience this model. Glass Smooth Floater sounds amazing, and I haven't experienced that yet really, so while this is definitely on the weaker side, I could see me really enjoying it. I also really like onboard audio and listening to music on a coaster, so that really adds to the ride experience for me. I love Rip Ride Rocket for that. I mean, it is a good coaster without it, you can find me on that too. So the music really adds that extra element, and when you add the backwards train as well, which I will for sure try, I am incredibly excited, and that is an understatement. Our number 6 coaster is Thunder Dolphin at Tokyo Dome City. For those longtime viewers of the channel, and the 872 of you who have watched my Big Apple coaster review, I said that I loved the scenery of a coaster in a city, and this is the coaster in the city. You have an Intamin Mega, which is a good coaster from the start, and you place it in the biggest city in the world. This coaster has always been oddly alluring for me, and honestly, it is probably the coaster I am looking forward to most. This combined with seeing it in anime and just seeing videos of it in general has me beyond excited for this. It is a landmark of Tokyo, and I will be riding it in just a few weeks time. Our top 5 starts off with the one and only Atlantis Adventure. This is by far the best coaster in Korea, and I have a lot to say about it. Back in the day, I was sorting through some of Coaster Count's rankings that I do annually. When I changed my filter to sort by the rankings of people who have a lot of credits, I found it in the top 10. Now this really surprised me, and upon more research, I thought I found the 8th wonder of the world and the hidden gem in the coaster community. And now this trip will prove if I am wrong or right. Basically, to summarize it quickly, this is the only Intamin Aqua Tracks in the entire world, and it basically is an Intamin Blitz water coaster. This coaster has an Ellison launch with crazy acceleration, there's an insane amount of theming, and I've even heard that there's an airtime moment that hits -2 Gs, which is mind-boggling to me. If you don't understand why I'm hyped for this coaster and why I think it deserves to be this high on this list, then you just don't know. I feel like at this point, we draw the line for objectively elite and world-class coasters, and if you disagree here, then you're just wrong. Our 4th spot goes to Flying Dinosaur at Universal Studios Japan. This coaster is often regarded as one of the best flying coasters in the world, and I can see why. The layout has relentless pacing for a flyer, and it hits element after element with virtually no break. And also it's a universal coaster, so it looks beautiful flying over the park, and it is not over some dirt patch like a lot of other flyers. It's intense, it's whippy, and it probably has one of the longest lines in the world. The only coaster that could even match Flying Dinosaur is Starry Sky Ripper, but I have heard from you guys in the comment section down below that that is not even true. I love flyers, so I'm super excited to check out Flying Dinosaur. Next up is Ejonica, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with this channel, you are probably questioning why this is so low. I mean, number 3 is solid, but still, why not number 1? Well, first of all, I don't think the 4-dimensional coaster is the best thing ever on the planet. X2 is good, very good, it's elite, but it's not my favorite elite coaster. I like the first drop, the first Raven turn, and then after that, X2 really feels not it for me. The last Raven turn almost ruins the whole experience. It is by far the roughest thing I have been on. Now for Ejonica, the layout is bigger and it's better, and I will probably come off thinking the same way. The one thing that is my favorite part about X2 is the first drop, and its first drop is probably better than Ejonica. Even though it is a tad bit shorter, the longer trains have that extra whip, but we will see what I think of Ejonica's first drop and the following layout. I'm sure I will like it a whole lot, because if I don't think I'm even allowed to have the title of a coaster enthusiast. Up next is the one and only T-Express at Everland. This is El Toro's sister coaster. Now, I have not been on El Toro just yet. I have been to Six Flags Great Adventure, but El Toro was closed, so this is my first Intamin prefab. It looks insane, and with the new RMC retract, it looks smoother than ever. It also sounds louder than ever, but that is an added effect, I guess. T-Express looks to be the one of the best wooden coasters on the planet, and its setting on the hillside with the dense greenery behind it makes it one of the coolest looking coasters in the world. I don't know, I'm just excited to get that sweet, sweet ejector airtime. You know what else has a lot of ejector airtime? Hakuge. This is what I think is going to be my number 1 coaster from this entire trip. I love RMC, I love RMC iBox, I haven't been on a lot of RMC iBox, so I'm really looking forward to this. I haven't been on any of the big elite coasters like Iron Gwazi, Steel Vengeance, or Air Force 1, so this is going to be my first big RMC until I ride Air Force 1 in August. I've heard some people say that Hakuge is better than Steel Vengeance. I am still incredibly doubtful on that take, but Hakuge checks all the boxes for what I'm looking for in a coaster, and I think it has what it takes to beat out its competition for this trip. So those are my predictions for our 2024 international trip to Korea and Japan. A follow-up video will be made where I compare my predictions to my actual rankings on the conclusion of this trip. Like I said before, the vlogs will be coming out in 2 short weeks, so sit tight, it is right there on the horizon. That is all for today's video, guys. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, join the Discord, link in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.